15th November 2024, the Uganda Cranes will play South Africa in their fifth game of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. A game Uganda needs to draw or win to seal qualification to the finals that will be hosted by Morocco at the end of 2025 going into 2026. The head coach, Paul Put, in a few moments or a couple of hours or days from now, he will be unveiling the squad. We don't know whether it will be a 25, a 27 or a 28-man squad for that game, and then the last group game against Congo Brazzaville. But of course, I am joined by a colleague of mine, Peter Tabu, and with him, we are going to be not entirely breaking down, but trying to project or anticipate what we should be, what kind of squad Paul Put is going to summon ahead of those qualifiers. Peter, greetings and welcome to this edition of the Uganda Cranes AFCON series.
Yeah, thank you very much, Clive. Hi, everyone. And of course, yes, an exciting time because we know that the Cranes need a point from the game against South Africa and Congo Brazzaville to actually make it to AFCON.
Well, 4 games have been played already. Of course, Uganda on 10 points. We are yet to lose a game in that one, winning 3 games, a total of 9 points. A draw against South Africa, a game we should have won. But when you look at the 4 games we've played in these qualifiers, there's been a lot of consistency in the way Paul Put is summoning his squad, from the goalkeeping, the defenders, the midfielders, then the forwards or the strikers. He has always introduced 1 or 2 players here and there. What kind of squad do you think that the coach will summon ahead of those 2 games against South Africa and Congo Brazzaville?
Yeah, first of all, Clive, you're right. There's been a lot of consistency with the squads that have been summoned. For example, the 4 games we've played, they've only summoned 2 squads. If you notice, the first squad that was summoned was for South Africa away and Congo Brazzaville at home. Those were 28 players, and 8 of them were local based. Of course, there were a couple of players who missed out, and those who returned. For example, at that time when the 28-man squad was called, people thought Salim Jamal would make the team. People thought Tadeu Rwanga would come, but those 2 weren't included. And I think Elvis Bomono made a return to the team.
He did.
And then when you look at the squad that was summoned for the 2 South Sudan games, it had 27 players, 1 player less of the other squad that was summoned. It had more UPL players, local-based players, 10 from 8. And Tadeu Rwanga returned.
Yeah, a new face in Tadeu Rwanga.
Yeah,
or Aritani.
Aritani, then Kwikiriza, the youngster from KCCFC, then Gavin. I think Shaban missed out due to injury, then Derek also came in. Yeah,
Joe Soronjoji also
missed out because Tadeu was summoned. So you'd argue that there's not been a lot of changes, and actually to add, the 2 squads that have been summoned, the goalkeepers have remained the same.
Yeah.
The 3, Nafiana Lyons, Ishmael Watenga, and Charles Ukwago. I don't think there is going to be any bigger changes in this final one that is going to be called. But I'm pretty sure, you know, there could be a few surprises. At least the worlds are speaking. And yeah,
the ears on ground. Of course, you talk about a few surprises. I got information yet to be verified, but of course we are just trying to paint a picture or try to anticipate what the coach is going to do. I got information that there could be a 4th goalkeeper, and in this case, it's going to be a locally based goalkeeper. Yes. And the KCCFC goalkeeper in Magolofa, I don't know if I pronounced the name correctly. You guys have been teasing me about the pronunciation. Is the goalkeeper that has been summoned ahead of Hannington Sebarunyo of NEC Football Club. Now, we don't know whether all the other 3 are going to be retained and they just add a 4th, but there is information that the KCC goalkeeper, the first choice goalkeeper at KCFC, Mutwaribi, is part of that squad. There is also information that Elio Caprodosi is going to be dropped from this squad. Of course, he was summoned for the games against South Sudan. He didn't play a part. Information was he was injured, he was unfit. There is information that he's been dropped. And information also coming in that Geoffrey Waswa, who plays at Buna in Ethiopia, is also returning to the squad. So those are the faces that are likely to be part of the squad that Paul Put is going to summon. But of course, like you said, 2 squads have been summoned for 4 games already, and the changes have not been those many. And you anticipate that again this time around, the changes are not going to be that.
I needed to comment about Mutwali, who has been very, who has put up an exceptional performance so far. I think about 6 clean sheets.
6 clean sheets in 7 games.
In 7 games, that's commendable. And when you think about it, with Chan around the corner, you would need a local-based goalkeeper on that
we
team.
play Burundi this month, so next month.
Yes, so you need a local-based goalkeeper to be a part of that vibe, for the 2 remaining qualifiers for Uganda, so that by the time we take on Burundi in the qualifier to determine if we are going to qualify for AFCON, he has he's picked 1 or 2 things from being part of the national team setup, and I feel like that's a very wise decision. We all know he won't play because in the 4 games that we've played as Uganda Cranes, Ishmael Watenga has managed 2 clean sheets. And
I think it's the ultimate first choice for Uganda.
He's definitely the ultimate first choice. Never mind that he's not playing for Golden Arrows currently, because his second choice now is someone else who is starting for Golden Arrows. But I think on the national team, when he has to show up, he actually comes and does a good job. So that's a good addition if it does happen for Mutwalib. You think he will pick quite some good experience ahead of the Chan qualifiers. Then
Geoffrey Waswa, of course, he has been part of the national team setup, but that's about 2 or 3 years ago. If he's summoned, he's also making a return, just like Tadeo Ranga made a return over the 2 games against South Sudan.
Yeah, I mean, he's proved that his quality in Ethiopia. He's not only, by the way, being a defensive kingpin, he's also scored a few goals here and there. I think penalties or free kicks, I've been able to catch up on a few highlights of him. And for me, as long as the players are really playing a pivotal part for their respective teams, then they definitely deserve a call-up. And it's important because, again, Uganda has never lacked in defenders. Caprodosi, fantastic ball player, fantastic defender, but you can't see even in his absence. You remember when he was taken off for Timothy Awani, you could see it was still stable because Timothy partnered with Halid Raliba in that one when he was taken off. So you feel like, yeah, we've never lacked, and we're definitely... Jeff Rossa coming in is also...
you still have Bevis.
Yeah, you still have Bevis. I think when you also be called, you still have Halid. So yeah, you'd think that the defense is solid. And maybe just to add, is that the 2 squads that were summoned, there are a couple of players who have not featured for the Cranes, especially the local-based players. In Saidi Mayanja, he's one of those that has been consistent with the 2 squads and he hasn't featured for the Cranes. And you think that maybe if the Cranes seal the deal here or against Bafana, maybe these players could be given an opportunity away.
In the last group game against Congo.
Against Congo Brazzaville. I think that would also help them to get a feel of wearing the jersey of the Uganda Cranes and also representing the nation. That's how I look at it.
But by and large, you don't expect any serious changes from the team that the coach is going to summon?
No, by and large, I really don't. Save for the ones that we've talked about. Again, pending confirmation. I think if those miss out, there will be a few eyebrows raised here and there. Because of the performances they had in the last game. Other than that, you expect the same team pretty much that played against South Sudan away to be the one to line up against Bafana Bafana.
Looking at the domestic players, of course, Alan Okello is in the form of his life. There's no question about it. Is it high time that he starts his second straight game like he did in the game against South Africa, or rather in the game against South Sudan in Juba? You have the duo at Chitara, James Omedi and Jude Mugabi. Team is struggling. You feel they will still make the cut and probably find their way into the starting lineup or something like that?
For Alan Okello, there's no question about that.
Does he eventually get to start his second straight game?
Without a doubt, I think he should start for the Cranes in Kampala against South Africa. He has that spark that we need going forward. Create chances, shake that defense a bit, look for those small pockets, that is something that he can definitely do against South Africa. Travis, I think because he's not had a lot of game time for his club, it's a bit of an issue when he comes for the national team. He doesn't exactly, come out on top and look for those spaces here and there. But Alan has been fantastic. We've seen what he's done for Vipers in the couple of games that they've played. I mean, the last month, Vipers won all 4 games in the league, and he was one of those who are scoring goals. So, yeah, without a doubt, for me, Alan starts. The others, I think Mugabe has always been effective when he's coming off the bench. For the times that he has done that, we saw him score in that game where we won. Yes, and then of course Omedi usually gets that start, but yes, the Chitara has not been doing well, so it's a bit of an issue there.
Derek Nsibambi returned to the national team, started the game against South Sudan in Juba. Unfortunately, he wasn't fit enough to play in that one. Eventually pulled off. He has since not trained with his KCCA club. Do we see another player summoned in that department, or you feel he will come in just for general assessment?
It depends on how this week goes, because those who have been at KCC and watched the team train, has not been part of them. So it's a bit tight for him to be fit for the game next Friday. But Mohamed Shaban is back. I'm sure he's going to make the team. He missed the last time out because of injury. So that's a massive boost for Uganda. Apart from Mohamed Shaban, I don't see any other forwards that Coach Paul
Calvin Kawiye is one that has been part of the setup, but
both games,
yet to get a minute.
Both squads actually that have been summoned. Yeah, he's not been able to get a minute, and I feel like maybe the coach is trying to make sure he prepares him for the final game away to Congo Brazzaville, because that game against South Africa is a very, very important game for Uganda. It's not a game where you want to try and test and see how fast, how good players are. I think you stick with the players that you're sure are going to get the result for you. And after that game is done, then you can think about giving other players a chance away to Congo Brazzaville. And I think that's how it shall be.
Well, the last time Uganda played against South Africa at Nambole was on the 10th of October 2004. It was a World Cup qualifier for the 2006 World Cup. We lost that game 1-0. Benny McCarthy scored that penalty. So it's going to be 20 years and 1 month since South Africa came to Mandela National Stadium, Nambole. Peter here follows the PSL like the back of his hand. Themba Zwane not part of the squad, but because of injury. But what kind of South African squad should you anticipate? Of course, it has already been summoned.
Yeah, the summoned squad also doesn't change a lot from the one that was summoned when they were actually playing their last match day. Should have been Congo Brazzaville, because they drew away 1-1. And yeah, it was tough for them. Apart from Themba Zwane, the rest of the players are available, and it's a good thing for them because at the end of the day, they need their best players available. And in that, I'm talking Mofokeng, the Orlando Pirates youngster, who's taken the PSL by storm. When you go to the back, Ronan Williams is also, is also available.
The best goalkeeper on the continent.
They have, I think, one of the best defensive midfielders now in Telente Mbata, the Orlando Pirates midfielder, holding midfielder. He's been doing well in the league, scoring goals for them as well. So collectively, you'd argue that they've not shaken up the squad a lot, apart from the Themba Zwane injury. But maybe you'd think...
Which takes a lot away from them.
It definitely takes a lot away from them, but they also bring back Pasitao. He returns to the team. He had missed a couple of games for them, and his return is also huge. He doesn't exactly fill Themba Zwane's boots, but he's one player.
He can do his own magic.
Yes, he can do his own magic, and he can bury you any day. So the Cranes have to really watch out for Pasitao, because I'm pretty sure the coach is going to try as much as possible to build around, Pasitao has been doing well for Al Ahly in Egypt, and that's why he's actually back on the team. So overall, the Bafana Bafana team is equally well shaped.
Well, that is our first episode of the Uganda Cranes AFCON series. CK Sports in conjunction with the pitch side. Keep it locked to our YouTube channels. Subscribe, because we have a lot of that content coming your way as we build up to that game that will be played on the 15th of November 2024 at the Mandela National Stadium. Like I said, the last time South Africa was here, they won that game 1-0. Well, they are standing in our way. We want to qualify for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, and we are not going to let that opportunity pass.